What's going on, my YouTube viewers? Welcome back to the daily puzzle solving series. I'm your host, Quinn, and today we're going to be looking at a puzzle that's rated just above the 2000 level. This is a puzzle that's about the same as my current puzzle solving rating, so it should be a good challenge. And if we calculate hard enough and well enough, we should be able to solve it and have some improvement for us as well. So in this position, we can see that we are down a full rook, and we have the opportunity to attack the enemy king because his king is very, very exposed here on g6. His king safety is absolutely abysmal right now. And his pieces are all stuck in this 3x5 square right here and kind of are cut off from the ability to defend his king. His queen, for example, runs into this f4 pawn, can't really land on e5. And there's just no way to very quickly mobilize it into action. He has a couple of ideas to maybe simplify the position, though. He can take on g5, move his queen into e5, and potentially try to offer a trade of queens. He can very quickly bring the rook over to the h file. So there are ways that our opponent can consolidate his position and neutralize our temporary advantage of having the attack. So we have to move quickly in order to capitalize on things. Our queen right now, I like where it's at. It's serving the function of cutting off the entire h file, which currently contains 3 of the enemy king's potential escape squares. And 2 other squares are covered by the occupation of his pawns. And then this square is covered by our bishop. And his only escape square currently that's viable is the f5 square. So I'm looking at a move like g2 to g4, cutting off that square. And at this moment, his king is ultra vulnerable because any check here would be made. And then we're immediately threatening queen h5 check. So after g4, I would propose that our opponent move his rook to h8 and defend against this checking square and also attack our queen. But in that case, we would have f5, and pawn takes is forced, and then g takes f5 is actually going to be checkmate, supported by our rook here on f1. And let's see if he has any defenses against this attack. So we already looked at rook h8. Does he have a move like f5, for example? If he goes f5, then queen h5 would be the move. And in a dove's tail pattern, as long as these 2 squares are covered, it's a checkmate. And indeed they are. One is by the occupation of his pawn, like I said earlier. And our bishop also contributes. And our bishop is still defended by the f4 pawn. So f5 is also not an option. Is there any other way that our opponent can sufficiently defend this square right here and also cover the threat of queen h5 checkmate? He can go queen d7 potentially to, well, it wouldn't prevent f5 because after takes, and then he takes with a queen, he would be losing his queen to the for a rook. That's my cat again. Sorry, guys. He's just, we're kind of winding down to the end of the day. I usually give him a snack around 10 p.m. my time, so he's already feeling a little bit hungry, kind of wants my attention. I'll tend to him as soon as this recording is over. So after g4, if he goes queen d7, I mentioned that f5 would cause him to lose his queen, but even better than that, we just go queen h5 checkmate. So those variations all check out. Let's just see if there's anything else that's weird that he could do with his knight. Not currently seeing it. I don't see anything that he can do with his bishop either. I mean, he could take on g5 as an option. But in that case, I think we would push f5. And now, after pawn takes check, king to f6. Now we don't have queen takes g5 because there's no pawn supporting. Okay, so let's look at that option a little bit closer. So this is the move sequence we were looking at. Okay, yeah, I think I see the refutation. So queen h5 check forces his king to f6 is the only move. And then after that, queen takes g5 as a checkmate with a dovetail pattern where these two squares are occupied by the enemy pawns and therefore inaccessible to his king. So I think we've covered all of our bases. There's nothing else that he can do to bring like this rook into the action. We've already looked at what he could do with all of his pieces, basically. Is there f6? Also not an option because queen h5 is mate. So let's go ahead and make the move. So g4 is correct. So he does take with the bishop, and now we have to be careful not to take the bishop right away with the queen, because then his king gets away to safety on h7, and that would be bad for us. We have to force him to f6 first, and then take the bishop with a checkmate. So let's do that. And that's the end of that puzzle. So hope you guys have enjoyed this solution. It was a very easy puzzle in the sense that it was just a mate in 3 moves, but you had to find the g4 setup move. It's a bit of a quiet move. It's not an immediate check or a capture. So there was some nuance to the puzzle, but we were able to identify that pretty quickly. And then we calculated all of the possible refutations of that move, went through it line by line, and we had a plan for everything that he could possibly do in response to g4. And there were a lot of variations, again, because it wasn't a forcing, it wasn't a forcing check or capture, let's say. Still a forcing move, technically. And yeah, so we were able to solve the puzzle. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. I hope you got some value out of this. And if you like the video, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and we'll be coming out with another video tomorrow.